Hello, everybody. Welcome to another day with Pastor Sunday and Pastor John Enelamah from Lagos, Nigeria. You said you are telling us about the lessons that you picked from Kiev the last time you came, and you mentioned them just in Iran yesterday. Do you want to repeat some of them and really deliberate on them, or you want to give us some new ones before you begin to pick them one by one?
Maybe let me deliberate on some of the ones I've mentioned.
Okay.
I can go to new ones. And this was an experience I was having, and it wasn't something I was thinking about. I was going to be sharing, but I came on a visit, which was supposed to be for a week, that turned to 3 weeks. But I realized that it was a long distance, what you might call advanced education that God was giving to me on leadership. For example, in talking to Pastor Sunday during that period, he said to me, he said three things to me that I haven't forgotten. It's been difficult even to keep up with those things in my personal life, but they became models and standards. He said, that I consider it a personal weakness for a person to quarrel with his staff. When I said, why are you not stressed out? Why are you calm from morning till night? Sometimes you're in the office till 11 p.m., 12 midnight, you're still the same person. He said, I consider it a personal weakness to quarrel with my staff. Now, I didn't understand the full import of that statement, but over time, I realized that even the work I was seeing, that the vessel that will carry that work must pay some kind of price. Because he made that commitment to work hard on himself, that he can be able to carry a move of God that can be able to impact the whole world and this generation. The other thing he said is that he said, I never leave my home with my wife unhappy. He said, if there's an issue, I take my time because my first priority is to devote my life to God. My next priority is my family, especially my wife, to work with her, to make, in fact, he said that it's my calling to make her happy. And, he said some things and we laughed over it. But basically, I'm sure that it's not new to many people, but it's the fact that he lived it, he practiced it. And he said the thought in his ministry, but he said ministry was his hobby, that doing ministry. He has a book written that is titled Pastoring Without Tears. And I saw it in action. I saw the way ministry was being done, and I've never really seen it like that. And so those are the first initial lessons. And then we started talking about, he said that one of the hardest things he had to do in ministry was to raise leaders. And as a pastor, I understood what he was saying, even though he didn't say it in many words. My understanding is that many times in raising leaders, the pastor basically can get so involved with the people that in correcting them and adjusting them, you can destroy who they are. But to raise them intact, to begin to raise them as kings, even before they accept that they are kings, that those leaders eventually rise up to discover their promised land and pursue it and make a difference there, was a big thing. And I think it's something that I would like to even discuss some more, because I saw people that, first of all, they didn't throw their weight around. That's the other thing that was very, very interesting. Everybody was so humble. You wouldn't know who was who. You have to get them to say, oh, I'm the leader of this, I do that. I didn't find people who were basically throwing their weight around. And one of the things I observed was because
what?
Because it wasn't about titles. It was about responsibility in the kingdom.
Right.
It was the responsibility that they had. They discovered their promised lands, and they accepted responsibility to make a difference. So there was no struggle in the local church for me to become assistant pastor. All those things they called housekeeping ministries.
Or eventual pastor.
Those kind of, so
to overthrow the pastor and take his place.
Yeah. So those things had a huge, huge impact on me, and the fact that here was a model that God had used his servant to build, and he was saying that I'm showing you these things because it can be done, so that you don't go the wrong way and think that the way church was done or is being done is the way it's supposed to be done. And something else, that was also obvious is that during the course of that week, I understood why God was asking me, what is the purpose of a church? Because I think that the challenge is that when the purpose of a church has not been known, we've used many other things to occupy ourselves in church.
We have to still talk about that. What's the purpose of the church? But still, you have to finish your experience before we touch on that.
Yes, please.
And we'll continue tomorrow, friends. And it's very interesting listening to Pastor John, because it's probably one of the, I think he has to write a book about his experience in Ukraine, because it's probably one of the most thorough student, in the sense that he really studied what is happening in Ukraine, not just coming to receive and to practice, but to really study as a student and document them. So, so you want to listen to him this way. Yeah, and we'll see you tomorrow. God bless.